to Dogs and Gooses, whereas my associate Starks always says, where the dogs are dirty and the goose is silly.
You're darn right, Williams.
It has been a little while. And even some of you have been asking us, when will the next podcast come out, Williams and Starks? And we appreciate that. We're grateful for the support. We'd like to shout out our super fan, Minaret.
Yep. She's one of the people who reached out to us and even gave us some ideas for podcast episodes.
And they were excellent ideas. We thank you for your concern and care about the podcast. Now, I will say, life is busy. Like we've said before, we're not full-time podcasters. We have full-time jobs that we do. If you want content, and if you want us to boost the amount of content, like you want something every week, or perhaps even a little bit extra on top, we need $500,000.
We don't ask for much.
$500,000.
We don't ask for much.
We don't
let's
ask
be
for
honest
much.
here.
Look, if we were selfish, I would have said $1 million.
It's true.
But I feel like we can get away with $500,000.
Yeah.
We'll get new equipment. It'll be very high end.
We'll probably get $30 microphones from eBay.
At least.
At least, yeah. Maybe 40.
At least, yeah.
And then we'll spend the rest on a vacation. We'll probably start again in 6 months. I mean, no, we will be consistent is what I meant to say. That's your way to earn consistency from the podcast. Is donate us $500,000 each of us. Williams wants $500,000
I see.
for new tech and stuff.
I wasn't even thinking of it that way.
And investment. And don't worry, we'll give you a bond. So if we make money on this, we'll give you guys an investment percentage. I mean, when we make money. That's what I meant to say.
Inevitably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's just been crazy and busy, you know?
Donate at Venmo, Nate-Starks 2. I'll be sure Williams knows if he gets any.
Because that's the kind of guy you are. Selfless.
It's true.
But yeah, things have been popping for me at work, and Starks has been crazy busy.
Oh yeah, both of us have been pretty crazy busy, and we're gonna try and get back on our 2-week schedule. But yeah, this is what you get for part-time podcasters. When we're busy, we don't have time to podcast.
But we said, $500,000 will really shore us up.
But we never give up.
Okay.
We never give up, and we are gonna try to get back on our schedule. And if we ever provide you guys with some consistency, then just be grateful and send us more money.
Goodness. But we appreciate the listens.
Yeah, in all seriousness, though, we really enjoy doing the podcast, and we enjoy hearing the feedback from, the 500 million people that listen to it.
Certain kinds of feedback. We don't want your negativity.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah. Benj.
Yeah. We'll start shouting out random names.
Yeah.
Susan.
Frederick. Oh. Pippin Epinopoulos.
Yeah, wherever you are.
He's on the Minecraft realm.
Yeah, he is. Well, phenomenal.
Williams, I'm dying to know the topic.
But, so, before we get into that, is there anything of note that you wanted to say that has got... Because
should we update our people?
Our podcast was a month ago.
Well, we signed a trade deal with China.
There's a new pope.
There's a new pope. That is true.
I guess.
Yeah, he is.
I heard.
I guess something good can come out of Chicago.
I've seen a lot of funny memes about, Pope from Chicago.
That sounds really funny. I'm about to get my general contracting license, which is part of why I've been busy. Had to do a class and a bunch of different things. Williams here is about to become president of BYU. Probably.
No. I do not speak for the university.
He does not. But I do. Not really. I don't even work here.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, no. Things have been going good for me. And I'm excited here next week. I'm going to go visit my family. Last week we visited your family.
That is true. Where are you? Are you going to Idaho? Or are you going to...
I'm going to be going to Idaho. My siblings are going to meet at meet up there, and my mom will be there, and my youngest brother. My dad won't be able to make it because, he's working.
Good old Brian.
Stuff.
He's
Yeah,
busy. Busy Brian.
That's what they call him?
Yeah. Among other things.
Yeah.
All good things. All
good
things.
things.
Yeah.
All good things.
Hey, Brian, I want you to know, no matter what your son says about you, you're a good man.
Don't fill his head with hot air.
Oh, never mind, I guess.
Goodness.
Yeah, any other updates?
I think that's pretty much it. You good?
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Let's run it.
Fantastic. Starks, in our lives we are often shaped by the events of our childhood. The things that we did there. Like watching television. Today I'd like for us to talk a little bit about those shows we watched growing up.
What is a television?
It's a TV for the layman.
What is a TV?
Really moving pictures.
Oh, I love those. Moving pictures are so fun.
Well, phenomenal. Starks, first and foremost, something that piqued my interest as I was doing research for this. Did you know that Bob the Builder is a British show?
Really? Then why the heck didn't he speak with a British accent?
I know. It's funny because all the main characters... I think the farmer had a British accent.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be
Maybe.
Bob the Builder, can he do it?
Maybe
Yes,
it started at the
he
beginning
can.
like that. I know. I think it's more... I think I've always thought of Bob as a little bit more Australian.
I always thought he was an American. Because I'm a patriot.
Well, I will say that I think all of his, vehicles, all of his construction equipment, they always sounded American.
Well, I
All
thought
of those, at least.
I thought Bob sounded American. I mean, I haven't seen it since I was 2, but I don't remember it being British.
Superimposing, how we speak
Maybe.
onto Bob from back then.
Maybe we'll look it up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Bob the Builder. Would you like some tea and crumpets?"
Could you imagine?
That would be wild, honestly.
But I thought it would be fun to start out. I want you to go... I've already done this. But I need you to take a Bob the Builder quiz.
Oh my goodness.
On what character you'd be from Bob the Builder. If you just Google what character would I be from Bob the Builder, it should be the first one that pops up.
Okay. What character would I be from Bob the Builder?
Mm-hmm.
Williams, while I do this, or while I start it,
Uh-huh.
you should tell the audience a story.
About your childhood?
Wait, is it which Bob the Builder truck are you?
No, it should be character. Oh, I think. Hold on, let me see it. Yeah, I think it might be that first one. Yeah. Well,
It's which
look on
Bob
it
the Builder
and show
truck
me
are
what it
you?
looks like.
Alright.
I know what it looks like when you get onto it. Yep, that's the one.
Alright.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was generalized characters.
What do you think about animals? I don't like animals. They are okay if they are not dangerous. They are lovely. They need to be protected. I think I fall under they are lovely. Blue. Easily my favorite color.
I'd laugh if we get the same one.
Williams, you say things about me, usually behind my back. Don't think I didn't hear about Susan. You and her talked. What do others say about you?
TV shows and movies and stuff. Watches Monsters vs. Aliens.
Good. That's prime.
What's your monster name? Susan.
Susan. Oh, I think I just scared myself.
Yeah. Classic peak comedy.
It's very good.
That's a phenomenal movie.
I like that show. Maddie and I rewatched that about a few months ago.
A lot of them surprisingly held up really well.
They did. It was kind of a golden era of movies. Williams, what do others say about me? I'm friendly, energetic, problem solver, or shy. You can only choose one. You can't choose all four.
Well, the first three are a little bit more like it. I don't know, just pick one random for the first.
You
I had
gotta
to pick
pick
these
one.
on my own.
Williams,
I had to do this on
Williams,
my own.
but
so
I'm here with you. I need your help.
I could have called you. But I decided no. I
Williams, which one am I?
can't tell you. You have to know yourself.
Well, I don't. Who am I? Whoop! I just picked one on accident.
Well, I guess you have to go with that.
I hope that one's good. Oh! Whoops, I just restarted it. Never mind, I can go back.
Very effective. No, but I was watching... As a kid, I loved the movie. It was the animated 2D movie of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. I think it came out in, like, the early 2000s.
That was a really good one. I loved that one.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I loved that one. Wait, Williams, quick question. Oh, never mind. I'm reading the question. As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up? A teacher, an artist, a musician, or a doctor? I'm going to say a doctor because I wanted to be a scientist.
I think that's close enough.
What do you think about animals? Well, I just answered this one. I'm changing my answer now. I don't like animals.
Not anymore.
Yeah, stop asking me. If you could keep any animal for a pet, what animal would it be? A dog, rabbit, hamster, or fish? Easily a dog. Gus, come back. Which of the following do you prefer doing in your free time? Solving puzzles, drawing, dancing, or yoga? Probably solving puzzles, but they didn't give me a lot of good options there.
That surprises me. You strike me as more of a yoga individual.
I mean, I do not mind a good yoga session. But if I'm like talking about on a Saturday and I want to relax, I don't go do yoga. I do like puzzles though. What kind of friend are you? The mom friend, the funny friend, the loud friend, or the shy friend? Williams, which one am I?
You gotta pick yourself, Starks.
Williams, I need your help.
Starks?
Williams, are we not friends?
We are, but, you know... I can't be Jake. You know what I'm saying? I can't measure up.
Well, I'm funny. I'm loud. But I'm not a mom. And I'm not shy. But I don't think I'm the loud friend. Usually the loud friend is like the most involved. The thing is, I'm just a loud person. I have a loud voice. I don't think I'm really the funny friend either. If anything, I would be the dad friend. Because I let people do their thing, but I also sometimes am like, hey, that's kind of dumb. Maybe you shouldn't do that. For example, with Williams, I keep on trying to get him off of this gluten-free diet he's been on for years.
Yeah, he's never going to stop me if I have my way.
How would you handle an argument? I don't like to get into arguments. I'm not good with confrontations. I wouldn't really get too invested. I would get pretty mad. I don't like to get into arguments. Which of the following cartoon characters do you like most? Dexter, Winnie the Pooh, Bubbles, or Mickey Mouse? I don't know who Bubbles is.
I was trying to think about.
Is that the guy from SpongeBob? There's a guy from SpongeBob named Bubbles, but I don't think that's it.
The only character I remember as Bubbles is Agent Cobra Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, that's true.
But I don't think that's referring to him.
I never really watched Winnie the Pooh or Mickey Mouse. Don't know who Bubbles is, and I never really watched Dexter either, but it's a little more my style than the others.
I love Dexter's Laboratory.
I liked it. I'm Scoop the Digger. I'm just like Scoop. He's also excellent at problem solving and is constantly willing to stand up for those who are in need. He's meticulously committed to his profession, but he also loves to have a good time. He enjoys pulling practical pranks as well. He also exudes confidence and common sense. Oh wow, that's right on the money.
I feel like mine is much less cool.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Lofty the Crane.
Lofty the Crane, huh?
I always remember him being like the character. The whiny one a little bit.
Well, I'm not gonna say it, but
but it says you are Lofty. He approaches his work in a relaxed yet serious manner. Lofty is timid, shy, and anxious, and he frequently requires extra prodding to accept the incredible things he is capable of, but he consistently rises to the situation and fulfills his obligations.
Yep, pretty spot on.
I don't know if this was like the most accurate quiz, but
no, Williams, it was spot on. Lofty,
but
good old Lofty.
I'm Lofty because I can reach heights.
You can reach heights, Williams.
Can't.
Well, Williams, I don't think this is the most accurate quiz.
I remember Scoop being because I think he's the yellow one with the
I don't even know. I didn't watch it all that much as a kiddo.
My goodness. One of my favorite parts of the show, I remember the tractor and the scarecrow hanging out and just getting into hijinks. And the tractor was always like, I don't know, to the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow wanted to do crazy things all the time. That always got him into danger. The tractor's like, I don't know if you should be doing that. I think the Scarecrow's name was Spud, or something like that.
Oh,
I don't know, Spud. I don't know. He's like, this could be great.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. You know, you'd always have to be saved by Bob and the crew, you know.
That's kind of funny.
Don't be Spud.
Don't be Spud. Be lofty.
Reach new heights.
Yeah. Reach new heights. Also, this chair has kind of weird handles. Very, like...
Yeah, you know,
they like
it's
move
a
all
little
over the
older
place.
of a chair, you know. And that it adjusts to what you need it to be, so.
Well, that's fair, I suppose. I need it to be a chair.
But
But-
kind? See, you don't even know.
Williams, I'm sorry. I cut you off. What were you going to say about Buzz Lightyear of Star Command? What a golden show.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that shows how well a show holds up are the little jokes that you don't get until you get older.
Yeah.
Because I watched that, I think, a
You
year
and I
ago.
watched it, yeah.
I was like, wow.
That's pretty
There
good.
are some, little niche jokes that you just don't get as a kid.
Yeah.
Like the whole...
Didn't they make a joke about taxes somewhere? Like, it was kind of funny. I can't remember what it was.
Well, one of my favorites was, because he names his prodigy Agent Z.
Yeah.
Zurg does. He's like, and we'll save a fortune on monogramming. I didn't know what monogramming was as a child. But he's worried about his brand and not having to make new stuff for his henchmen.
That's funny.
Yeah. Pretty clever stuff.
There's a lot of stuff in there. I can't remember. There was a joke they made about taxes, where like I can't remember, one of the minions said something about it, and it made me bust up when you and I watched it like a year ago. It's a good show though. I have a distinct memory of we were watching a movie and then my sister switched to that channel and then I cried until she put it back on. Because that was not a very well told story. We were watching a different show. My sister accidentally switched the channel, and it was Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. And as soon as I recognized the show, I cried when she switched back to the show we were already watching until she moved back to Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
I hope it was Kelsey.
It was Kelsey,
Okay.
yes.
I was like, if she's like messing with you at that age.
No. Shay was just in diapers still, and she was probably, I don't know, just hanging out in the back.
As she does, you know.
As she does.
Hanging out.
Shay does do that. But yeah, Buzz Lightyear, peak.
It was a phenomenal show. I'm curious, what kind of shows did you gravitate to as a kid?
How little are we
shows that
talking?
you'd watch?
How little are we talking?
I don't know, just I think general range, like up till about age 10 or 12, you know?
I really liked Bugs Bunny. It's a classic.
Oh, Looney Tunes. Very
Really liked Scooby-Doo. And then I remember, like, Rugrats was a good one, too. I'm probably missing something, but...
I mean, what shows like immediately come to mind? 'Cause I think
Bugs
it's
Bunny and
kinda-
Scooby-Doo immediately come to mind. And I really liked Rugrats when I was younger. SpongeBob is always a classic. I think I would probably put SpongeBob above Rugrats, but I don't know if we watched it when I was super young. We watched that more in, like,
As you start to get a little older.
as I started to get a little older, yeah. So, I think those are probably my top three. I think I'd have to say Bugs Bunny, Scooby-Doo, SpongeBob. Maddie will hate that, but luckily she doesn't listen to the podcast. She has to listen to my voice enough.
Frankly, for me, it's not enough stars.
Well, fair enough, Williams. How about yourself, Williams?
I think for me, probably like Jimmy Neutron. One of my favorites.
That's a good one. I really like Jimmy Neutron,
I
too.
love Jimmy Neutron, and like I said, I watched a bit of Dexter's Laboratory, and I also watched. Goodness, I was just thinking about it.
While you think about it, I just remembered, Benj hasn't been willing to come on our podcast, so we're going to share some of his favorite shows really quick. Powderpuff Girls, My Little Pony, and Strawberry Shortcake were his 3 favorite.
And those aren't bad shows. Let's defend them a little.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't say they were. You were the one that assumed, Williams. Those were on the top. They make the top 10 for me easily. Good old Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah. Raspberry Tort.
Yeah. Raspberry Tort. Is that really a name in Strawberry Shortcake?
100%. My little sister used to watch it.
Oh, that's
They had
funny.
crazy one. There's only one guy. His name was Huckleberry Pie.
Oh, really?
And he was the only, and he wasn't even in all of them because my sister watched a couple of them.
Yeah.
Like there was like an older version and like a newer version or whatever. And he was only in a little bit of the old version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't make the transfer to the new. Somebody murdered Huckleberry Pie.
Why?
I don't know, and I don't think it's right.
Equality for men. I want Huckleberry Pie back in there.
Yeah.
I mean, My Little Pony didn't have very many guys either, if I'm being honest.
Wait. I just thought about something.
There was... Oh, go ahead.
In Strawberry Shortcake, I believe there's a villain. I think he has something to do with pie. Let me look it up real quick.
Oh, my goodness. While Williams looks that up, I'll continue my thought about My Little Pony. There's only one guy, and he only has one line throughout the whole show. Yup. And there might be other guys, too. I'm not that familiar. My little sister used to watch it. But, yeah, I just think there's a little bit of prejudice in there.
I think they really messed up Huckleberry Pie.
Is he a villain?
So, there's a guy in the show. Maybe he showed up maybe while Huckleberry Pie was there. I don't know. But this is the peculiar purple pie man of Porcupine Peak. And he was the villain of the
goodness.
show, I guess, sometimes.
Does he look like Huckleberry Pie?
Purple pie.
Did they bully Huckleberry
Purple
Pie
pie man.
to the point that he turned evil?
And grew up? Is like the secret to staying young just kindness?
That's very, very possible. I mean, I feel like all of those shows are about friendship and stuff.
I think we've gotten to the bottom of Huckleberry Pie.
I think so.
They destroyed him. They did not treat him equally or fairly, and he became a villain.
What a sad story that is, Williams.
I know, but I feel like you could make a really intense Strawberry Shortcake movie like that.
Have you seen the adaptations of different shows they do, where they're like there's a Mario one that I used to love. It's called Mario Warfare.
What?
And they are basically it's live action, and so they have people that play Mario and Luigi, but instead of fighting like the way they do in Mario, they have like guns and different things, and there's a part where Toad sacrifices himself in the very beginning of the show, but then at the very end of the show, it's just a YouTube clip that I watched when I was like 12. At the very end of the show, Toad comes back, and you're like, how did you survive? And then it does a rewind of the very first episode, and he had an extra life in his hand when he died.
Oh.
And so...
Whoa.
So that's what I'm picturing when you talk about... Like, I'm picturing Strawberry Shortcake as like a super spy with guns and stuff.
That'd be so... When does that enter the public domain?
That's an excellent question, Williams.
Okay.
I don't know. Probably in like 50 years.
When does Strawberry Shortcake become public domain? Because that would be perfect search. I think we need to... 70 years after the death of their creator. So it's not yet public domain, but when? Likely and well after 2094.
Wow.
Okay, but we've got 80 years to think about it.
That's true. We'll have to pass on those ideas to our children, most likely.
Which is really unfortunate, because that could be a cash cow.
It's true. Well, Williams, here's the thing. I don't really... I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm going to make it to 94. So we're going to have to really prep them years in advance.
I know. The only sad part is that we won't be there to see it.
I mean, I might make it to 94, I guess. But that's like 90... My brain quit. That's 96 years for me. I'll be 96 years old, so very possible I make it. But I'm not going to make it long after that.
I didn't anticipate I'll live. I think maybe 80s, maybe.
I think I'm hoping for 80s
Possibly
or 90s.
70s.
I want to play basketball until I'm 70. That's my current goal. So, basketball till I'm 70, and then pickleball till I'm 90. After that, I can die.
Because life will have been when the sports have gone out of my life.
Yeah, it's true. Wait, what else is there left, Williams?
I don't know, I guess just avoid.
Well, fair enough. Very hopeful conversation while we talk about kids' shows.
Sometimes what makes shows better is that sense of reality, like a little bit, a twinge of darkness.
Is there? Can you think of a kids' show that was like kind of messed up? That kind of had something like that, yeah.
That's difficult because when you're a kid, you're not thinking about that, so you don't always think back and recognize it.
In Rugrats, there was an episode I remember where somebody died. It wasn't like one of the kids or one of the characters, but like somebody died and it made Tommy sad, or something like that.
Huh. That's kind of intense for...
Yeah, for like a baby show.
But it also needs to happen.
Educate them young.
It's part of life, you know? Things live and they die. I think that might be part of the benefit of like having a pet as growing up as a kid and just watching these things die. That you love.
That's the best part of having a pet.
Well,
you watch them die.
No, I'm just saying. It's a process.
Listen,
you learn responsibility, and you also learn about the facts of life. Things live, and they die.
Which is true. I actually am not disagreeing with you. Just the way you said it sounded really dark. And it made me really glad. Though when you have your mustache, I see you as a father figure. Maybe glad you're not my father. Like, oh, son, look at this turtle. Oh, my, it's dead. You have something to learn now. Don't be sad.
But you can be a little sad, you know? Because that's just part of life.
It is.
Be a little sad, but...
Well, you're right. My mom... Really, we're going into really deep topics for a children's show. My mom once said to me, she said, death is a hard thing. She said, usually you get eased into it. First, it's your parents or your grandparents, and then it's your great aunts and uncles, and then it's like some of your aunts and uncles, and then eventually your parents. And then after that, it starts to be people you've grown up with, siblings, family, and I was like, oh gosh, that's hard.
No, I've talked to some people because I've met some people who are getting to the age where all their friends are dying, just almost all at once too.
Yeah.
And they're just... I knew one guy and he was retiring. He's like, I'm retiring. All my friends are dying. I'm going to spend my last little bit hanging out with the family and doing whatever.
Wow.
I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. You know, you didn't need to still be working yet enough. You know.
Yeah. Well, work can be important. It's important to work, but also when you get to a certain point,
age,
go spend time with your family. Go enjoy it. You know.
You worked for that moment.
Yep. Yep. And it's a tough thing.
I feel bad for those people who don't get eased into it. You know.
Oh, I know.
Although they're probably tougher as a result in certain ways, but I don't know if that's necessarily a great thing.
I don't know, Williams. I feel like not necessarily all of us ever get used to it.
No.
Sometimes you just keep doing what you need to do to make it, and you just keep going because that's all the choice you have. It's not like you ever get to the point where you're okay with losing people, but. Anyway, you want to move to lighter subjects?
Well, I suppose I was thinking of other shows I watched as a kid. And I remember me and my siblings watched a ton. Like for a while, we really binged this show. It's called Johnny Test. Did you ever see that show?
I saw commercials for it, and I thought it looked stupid.
I mean, it wasn't, you know... I mean, you watch SpongeBob, though, so I don't know.
Wait. No, I just was like, why the heck is his name Johnny Test? Is he good at test taking?
Well, actually, it's because that was their last name, but also his sisters were like these science people,
Uh-huh.
mad scientist kind of character, like almost a Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah.
They'd use him as basically lab rat for all their experiments.
Oh, so they called him Johnny Test. I get it now.
Right, because he tests all the stuff, and I think they would give him if I remember right, they'd give him little rewards for testing different things on him, like bucks he can cash in to get them to do something he wanted. Like build him a jetpack or do something crazy like that.
I don't hate it. I've never seen it, so I can't.
Dog.
I can't. I just thought it was like about some guy who was really good in school or something. So I was like, what a nerd.
I would say like all that kind of influenced his growing up. Until, I think a little bit before college, I was like, I'd like to do stuff in science. A lot, I think, because of those shows.
Yeah.
Then, maybe it was like in high school that I kind of started figuring out where science is not as cool as it is in those shows.
No, a lot more work, and it's a lot less, like, you're not really going to be discovering...
No, it's a lot of testing.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and fairly minute testing of that.
You do have a few
important.
scientists who are discovering things, which I think would be probably a pretty fun position, but there's also a lot of scientists who just generally are, like, just testing blood samples and looking for things that already exist. So
it's not that that's not important. Or
that's so important.
But it's just not what I had in my mind.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, the reality is that every job turns into a job, and a lot of times you can go to a job and you can love it, and I love my job, and I think you enjoy yours too. Like, I like building things. I really enjoy the satisfaction of seeing a job well done. And seeing that, there was a hole in this wall, and now there's not, and it looks seamless. That stuff I love. But there are also days where I'm like, man, I don't want to be here, and this customer's being ridiculous. They want me to fix the wall, which is a dusty process, but they're unwilling to acknowledge that, like, there's going to be dust in the air while I work, and I'm going to put up curtains and different things and yada, yada, yada. But they just want to, they want things to be perfect, but they don't recognize that things need to be fixed. So, anyway, there's always jobs where there's something to do. So I think scientist is really cool. Not as cool as I envisioned growing up, which is why I switched away from that.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
I kind of like problem solving.
Yeah. That's kind of... I think in every position you're going to have the problem solving.
Yeah.
At least to a degree. Like, I problem solve a lot. Just because I work with people, right?
Managerial is going to be a lot of problem solving. Mm-hmm. Frontline, problem solving is dependent on how much you want to problem solve. Because your people can come to you and say, hey, the vacuum's not working. And to them, they can go to you. But who do you go to if you're in charge on your shift? You have to say, like, hey, I'm the janitor on staff. Yeah. I'll fix this vacuum.
No. I'm the custodian.
Oh, honest mistake, Williams.
And I'm a building operations manager.
That is true. That is true. You're not a janitor. I don't want to downplay your position. Don't tell Shane.
Trying.
No, but you'd say, I'm the building operations manager. I need to make sure the building operates. And you'll look at the vacuum, and it might be a situation where you're like, hey, this vacuum's not going to work. Go find another way to clean or manage or do whatever this thing. But you're problem solving, and those employees don't have to do it quite as much. So every position has it.
Or dealing with, like, interpersonal issues, like this employee and this employee, need to fix that. It's kind of fun to strategize a little bit on that.
Exactly. Well, even beyond that, you can say, hey, so-and-so is really good at solving this problem. So-and-so is really good at solving this problem. Let's coordinate their schedules so they're working in this particular area, in this particular area. And you run a crew, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But I do love that aspect. You're right. That's it.
I rather enjoy it. And I run into it in a different sense. I don't have really any personnel, but I come in and I'm like, well, we need to put in this cabinet or whatever, but cabinets only come standard 16 inches or whatever in this area, and this space is only 15 inches. So how do I do that? Is there places I can take off the cabinet? If not, is there a way to widen the wall? Is there a smaller cabinet, and then I can put a filler piece in there and all sorts of stuff like that. Additionally, like marketing, because I run my own company, Well, I have a business partner. Shout out to Spencer. He'll probably never hear this, but shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Spencer.
Yeah.
Maybe listen to the podcast every once in a while.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Oh, I'm busy. I have a family. Some people's kids.
Yeah,
you know?
My goodness.
Yeah.
You can listen while you have a family.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think problem solving for me is really enjoyable, and it sounds like it is for you too. Williams, I don't want to take us off topic by going back on topic, but we have yet to mention, I think, the best kids show that's being made today. We'll say that we'll have that caveat because I don't know. I like Bugs Bunny, Scooby Doo. I feel like I give my peak to for all time.
Right. No, Scooby Doo is a great show. I didn't get to watch as much of it as a kid, which is but it was fun. I liked the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read a lot of mystery books at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun show. Maybe not some of the newer ones, although some of them had like
them would
newer.
Get weird. Like I watched the. It wasn't the newest Scooby Doo.
But the next newest.
It was the one where it ended. I don't know. I don't like it as much when it gets like. The monsters are really monsters because that wasn't as. It wasn't really a mystery then. It was.
It's just a twist.
Yeah.
Which
it was intriguing, sometimes kind of fun, maybe depending on how they did it.
Yeah, which is fair. I don't know. So Williams, you want to take a guess at which show I think is the best one that was made either in recent years or is still being made? I think they started making it again recently.
Okay, then I assume it's not Bluey because I think that's being made already.
It's not Bluey.
That Bluey's a trend though. A lot of people.
I did think of another one that you and I both love though, but it's not the one that I'm thinking of now.
Okay. They started to make again. Oh goodness.
I'll tell you. Phineas and Ferb.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was another really fun one.
I love Phineas and Ferb. I will still watch it as an adult. When my kids get like 8, they're gonna watch Phineas and Ferb. I don't really know if I want them watching modern cartoons, especially because I haven't vetted them, but I can put them on all the ones that I've seen.
Exactly, yeah. Phineas and Ferb is a timeless classic.
It is, and it's enjoyable to watch as an adult. It's enjoyable to watch as a child, or maybe I'm just a child adult. Both are possible.
Well, I think they got the right jokes.
They do. Well, it's funny. It's funny for kids because there's lots of funny things for kids, but there's lots of funny things for adults too. Exactly. Like there's a good mix of both. They're very creative. And there's just a lot of fun things that happen.
Yeah, I love Doofenshmirtz, like, personal life.
Oh, yeah. I know. Neither of my parents showed up to my birth.
It just gets wild and extreme. His whole deal with his ex-wife.
Yeah. I was a lawn gnome for my parents.
Back in
Gibblestump. That show is so good. It's golden. I was gonna say too the I give kind of a runner-up, Zaboomafoo.
That is a blast from the past. I think of that show sometimes, and because the part I really loved about that show, they didn't have it in every episode, but they had a part where they would invent something, do something with the animals.
Yeah.
And me and my siblings were like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Yeah.
Kind of. I think it tied in a lot with, the other shows I was watching, where they're, like, inventing and creating stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Zaboomafoo was a really fun one. I forgot about it until you and I talked about it one day. And I was like, wow, what a fun, like...
Zaboomafoo was the name of the lemur, in case you don't know.
Yeah.
And it was 2 brothers, I think. One wore a green shirt, the other one a blue shirt.
Yep.
And I think they're Australian.
I think so.
And they would do stuff with animals. And they had have their lemur, Zaboomafoo, which sometimes be a real lemur, sometimes they'd have a puppet.
Yeah. That's when it was talking to them, it would be a puppet.
Yeah.
It would be like, hey guys, what if we do this or whatever?
For the longest time, I thought that they were separate entities.
Oh, really?
Just because they're so different. The puppet really doesn't look
It doesn't look very much like Zaboomafoo. Well, they made a new show like that, but it's cartoon. So they have like...
But it's based on Zaboomafoo?
It's based off of the actual Zaboomafoo. So like they have a cartoon lemur, and they have the cartoon brothers. And then they have like a crew, and they fly around in a ship and look at animals or something. I can't remember.
Going currently?
It was going about a year or two ago. My niece and nephew were watching it one day, and I was like, disgusting.
They've ruined it.
Yeah. I mean, it might
I
be...
assume they've gotten quite old since then, perhaps.
Yeah. It might be really good, but I don't know.
It's kind of like with Blue's Clues. I watched that a ton as a kid. Like, real little.
I watched it a few times.
Steve. Cool guy. But he was starting to bald, I guess, and so they sent him off to college. And, replaced him with his brother Joe, or whatever it was.
That's fair, I suppose.
So, it's kind of like that with the brothers. They're probably losing hair. It's like
They couldn't have given him a wig?
Snacks, when you're moving around like they do, wigs fall off.
That's fair. Except for I thought they have like power wigs or something. Like in Shrek, that one guy.
They're
take
lower
off
budget.
the powder
They're
wig.
not making, Hollywood movies. They can't afford the power wigs.
That's fair. That's very fair. So.
At least a good quality kind.
Also, I'm Scoop.
Yes, you are Scoop. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of Phineas and Ferb, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Disney stars.
Oh, really?
What do you mean, oh, really?
I don't know. I didn't know what to say, Williams. I tried to throw in a filler phrase. What do you want from me?
I heard that... I don't know really... I'm trying to pinpoint where it started. The whole debacle. Because I don't know... I think it was probably around the time they acquired Star Wars.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And certain things started to tank from there. I think there's been a few events that have added fuel to the fire. I think once they finished Endgame,
Yeah.
they started going into the other stuff. It's kind of causing them some issues. I think Star Wars Episode 7 did fine and did well.
Yeah.
I think they were really teeing it up, but they saw some success from that. Maybe not as much as they wanted, I don't know. But 8 was the real turning point for their hate on the Star Wars.
Yeah.
And everyone started lighting into, I think Kathleen Kennedy is her name.
Yeah, the CEO.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, she's not the CEO.
Who is she?
I think she's the one who's one of the ones... She has a lot of say in the Star Wars project. I don't think she's a writer, but she is some sort of producer. Well, let's look it up and make sure. Kathleen? I heard that she's stepping down.
I thought she was the CEO. I thought she was
She's
in
a
charge.
producer.
She's a producer? Oh. She must be like a
she's
head
the president
producer or
of
something.
Lucasfilm.
Oh, that makes
That's what I was
sense.
thinking.
That makes sense. Yeah, because she gets all the flack.
Well, she's been making a lot of unpopular executive decisions, I think.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. Well, I think there's two things that are happening there. Well, actually, there's a bunch of things that are happening there. One is they're not making original titles anymore. And in all honesty, people don't... making a remake, a reboot...
Though.
What?
I don't know who's making a lot of original titles, though.
No, nobody is right now. I think we face a kind of unique challenge. It's hard to make an original film when there's so much content. And
that's a good point.
Because, if you think about it, throughout human history, we haven't had really the ability to retain data in the same way that we have in recent years. So I've thought about this a lot. I'm like, how much can fashion and music and video, how much can it change? And it's honestly like there's a lot of different ways things can go. So I'm not necessarily saying that we have reached the point that there's nothing left, but I'm saying like it's possible because we have retained data from years and years and years ago. So every time you make a movie, it's going to be compared to thousands of other films, and some people will be like, oh, this is just like that one other movie. This is just like that one other movie. And in an era where everyone wants to be original, it's hard to make an original movie with how many movies there have been made.
Well, I don't know if the current thing is indicative necessarily that people want to be original. Because making a sequel to something isn't being original.
No, but I think the movies that go outside of those try to be really original. And so they leave behind classic good plot lines. So you need some redundant plot points. People understand what's happening, but if you do the scene well... Like, for example, there are scenes that start, and you're like, oh, I see where this is going. And you might think this is kind of stupid, but if they execute it well, then it can redeem that whole scene. So, I think there are two things. One, originality is really hard right now. I think that there's plenty of opportunity still for it. But, two, if you're ever making a remake, I think it's a lose-lose situation unless the first version was made poorly. Because if you make it different, people will dislike it. If you make it the same, people will dislike it. People, like, if somebody makes, for example, they did this with the Snow White movie. If they make it different, I'm like, well, it's not even Snow White. Like, it has totally different values. It has da-da-da-da-da-da. But then, if you make the movie exactly the same, then I'm like, well, why did you bother making the movie the same? And so it's a lose-lose situation. So I think they're going to kind of move away from those. If you were to make it the same, I kind of like how DreamWorks is doing it with Imagine Dragons. Or not Imagine Dragons, it was How to Train Your Dragon.
Where, I don't know if I'm super... I don't care to watch the same movie, just live action.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
See, here's my thing. Here's my point with that. I don't think that I'm like, I hear that and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm more like, oh, that's fair. They're just making a live action that's the same thing. I guess that's fine. But it's not something that I get excited about, or I think really anybody does, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's one problem. I think the second thing that we need to recognize about Disney at this time is, Williams, you know me, I'm a big sports guy. I love sports. Love them, love them, love them, love them. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the difference is between a good player and a great player?
Style?
Yes. Oh, you're a villain, all right. Just not a super one. What's the difference? Presentation! Yes, exactly. No, so I think the main difference between a good player and a great player is consistency. A good player in basketball can hit a three when they're open, or they'll hit an amazing, crazy three-pointer every once in a while. A great player hits them all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we need to recognize that Disney is no longer a great movie company. They're a good movie company, and they're riding on their greatness from the past. So they will release films every once in a while that are great films.
Correct, yeah.
But a great movie company would hit like probably 7, 8 times out of 10, and so on and so on.
Well, here's a little tidbit. I think that they were consistently the way they are now, almost. I think what gave them the illusion of the greatness and the consistency was the fact they had the Disney Vault. So if you go through Disney Plus, you'll find a lot of really odd, poor shows that they made. And they made plenty. But the reason that you don't remember those is a lot of times they were locked away in the Disney Vault.
Really?
And that's my opinion. I went through and watched a couple of shows just kind of on a whim. There's this one that they made called The Black Hole. I don't know if you've heard of that even. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I watched it. I think it was their attempt to try and rival Star Wars a little bit. That was poor.
Yeah.
Quite poor. And I just look at all these other ones and I'm like, I haven't heard of that one, haven't heard of that one, haven't heard of that one. I think a lot of them were kind of suppressed and sequestered. And that is one... You could do that before you made streaming platforms and other things where people expect you to have these large content libraries. But they've had plenty of unsuccessful films.
So you're saying their mistakes are more magnified right now?
Correct. Well, I mean, it's just more evident even.
I think I disagree.
They can't shy away from the light, and they can't...
I think there's some truth to that, but I think I disagree.
Okay.
Because, hear me out on this. I remember growing up, going to watch movies, and every time we went to the movies, which was not like all the time, but it was decently frequent, there were a lot of good movies coming out. A lot of good movies. Like, I remember going to movies I'd never heard of, and they were good. Like, Pacifier, I rember we went to that as a family.
Oh, that was a fun movie.
And it was such a good movie, and I had never heard of it, and I was a kid, too. But now as an adult, Maddie, she loves to go to the movies, and I love to take her to the movies, because I like my wife being happy, right? There's nothing. Like, there's nothing. There's a huge fascination with horror movies right now. I'm not a horror movie guy. I really I hate watching horror movies. But I think that there's really just not, like, nobody's found a niche. So I think it really does come down to two things. One is consistency, which is greatness, but why are they good now and not great, or why are they just mediocre now and not great? And
well, here's another point. Why is it just now? Because if that's true, the point you made earlier, where we've had all these years of content, in the last 10, 15 years, we've produced so much that it's washed out every other story.
I think it's incentive structures.
Okay.
So, here's my thing. You will see a tendency amongst people and organizations to do something really good, to start to become successful, and then they'll be like, wow, we are successful, we are so good, now we can do whatever we want. And then they go away from the things that made them successful in the first place. And honestly, I think Disney has done that. I think Disney's totally changed their value system. Like, they seem to be different. They seem to have moved away from the family values. Additionally, they seem to have moved in a direction where I feel like they don't really pursue merit-based hiring and so on.
For directors.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because you'll watch a film with a director that did a really bad job, and you're like, wow, that film was awful. And then you'll hear about them directing another film.
I mean, in all fairness, you're going to have a couple losses as a director.
You will. You 100% will. I'm just saying, I think that they had so much momentum for so long that they pretty much believed they were untouchable.
That they could put out anything and people wouldn't come.
Yes. Well, not even like that they necessarily acknowledge that. It would. Well, that's true. There are a lot of people that'll still go watch a show, and I mean, I'm one of them. Maddie likes to watch the movies. If there's a show that looks like it has a potential to be good, even if I think it might be bad, I'll go watch it. Right?
Well, we saw a movie recently. Yeah, you took Maddie. We went with your family.
Yeah, we watched the new Thunderbolts film. I liked some of the storytelling. I did not like the finale. I did not like the ending. Yeah.
Parts of it were really good. I think, in general, I would classify it as an okay to good movie.
Yeah. I give it like a 6, maybe 7.
And maybe 10. I'm a harsh critic.
I am a harsh critic.
Mm-hmm. But I did like it. I will say it's much better than the recent Marvel stuff I think they put out. I know, because I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, then I saw another one that I wasn't too impressed with.
Captain America, if you saw that one. The newest Captain America was awful.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that was pretty poor.
It was awful. I hated it. I am a harsh critic, so I recognize that. Be aware of that if you ever hear me critique a film. But
it's not a bad. It's probably one of the better ones out right now.
Well, I liked the storyline. I thought they did a good job on the storyline. I didn't love a couple elements of it. Like, I didn't like that he was completely untouchable. That kind of ruins the whole. That ruins the whole everything. Like, why is there a conflict? Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like if they had ran and reevaluated and found a way to beat him, but even the fact that he was like this good guy. As soon as they tried to fight him, I was like, this isn't going to work. They're either going to get their butts kicked, or they're going to start to actually hurt him, and then he's going to actually try, and he's going to whoop him, but they'll have to find a new way to beat him. But it turns out that he's, like, crazy strong, he's unkillable, he's unwhateverable, and then, on top of that, he can just point at people, and they turn into nothing. Yeah. It's just... So, not to get too in-depth, but... My point is, I didn't love the finale. I think the thing that I liked the least about the entire movie was the whole Avengers thing at the end. They don't really fit the Avengers at all.
No.
Like it's not a fitting brand for them. It's not even close to a fitting brand for them.
I think sticking with the name, Thunderbolts or whatever, would probably be the best and be hilarious to just stick with that name.
Oh, 100%. Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, you guys were kind of starting your own brand, and then you were like, we're the Avengers. And I'm like, none of you guys fit the Avengers
aren't
mold.
They rivaling the other Avengers team or whatever?
Yeah, exactly.
So why even?
Well, I think there's going to be basically a show. I think they've made a new plan. Here's my prediction. Put it on the air. Could be wrong.
All right.
I often am. I'm predicting the next Avengers show is going to feature probably one of them in the beginning, and then the other one's going to show up partway through, and they'll wind up combining, and they'll just be one Avengers again.
Oh.
Alternative prediction.
They'll have a Civil War at some point, maybe?
Yeah, sort of, kind of. Alternative prediction. This is a secondary option. One, they have one Avengers movie that features these guys. They have another Avengers movie that features the other guys, and then in the third movie, they combine. There's going to be a lot of conflict either way, like where they're like, oh yeah, we can't join you guys, and then after they join, they'll make jokes about like who's in charge or whatever and different things. But ultimately, I think that's where it leads.
No, we'll see, because it sounds like they're already going to tie in a different, separate Marvel entity.
Yeah, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Spoiler alert, maybe. I don't think it's that much of a spoiler anymore.
No, I mean, it's coming out, so
yeah.
Everyone knows Fantastic Four is coming to that universe. I think, at this point, I think there's so much trash that's been pumped into that brand. I think they should just cancel all their movies. Stop. Wait for a year or two. Do a reboot. You don't have to get rid of all your characters. Just basically stop all the movies that you're doing right now.
Where would you even start from that point? Or do you think they'd just have to figure it out with 2 years' time?
I think I would go one of two ways. I would stop. I would wait 2 years, maybe 3. Enough times that people start to kind of be like, oh yeah, like where are those movies? Like I kind of miss them. And then you make a big release. And you have it feature a classic character. Spider-Man. Probably not Captain America because he's kind of played out.
Like I don't know what they're going to do. Spider-Man's kind of on the down low right now.
Well, they're coming out with a new film for him. Oh. But I would do Spider-Man.
That's a little biased of you, though. Well, I think a lot of people like.
Well, can you think of another one of the main characters that's still around? Maybe Hulk, but they never did a Hulk movie.
Spider-Man was much of a main character in the franchise.
Yeah, well, they kind of finished off their mains. Maybe I would do Thor. Stop what you're doing. Do a pause. After a couple of years, make a comeback with one of your mains, and you do that movie, and then you do a new character. Your next one's a new character. I don't really know superheroes that well, but Marvel has like thousands of superheroes. Do a new character, pick one of them, run with it, or maybe you do Guardians of the Galaxy. Give it a couple years, do Guardians of the Galaxy again. Kind of call back to the classic style. It's been long enough. People haven't been so like inundated with superhero stuff. You get a chance to call back to some old things and involve some new things.
Possibly.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to do that, though.
They're not.
They're just going to keep steamrolling forward.
They're going to keep... I mean, they still make money off of most of these projects. So
yeah. I mean, I guess if you do, then you do.
And until there's another, like, real rival studio... Like, because DreamWorks is probably their biggest rival. But DreamWorks is pretty much...
Some hits.
Oh, DreamWorks they're a great studio. I'm talking about consistency. We talk about
that all the time.
Yeah. Look up their hits in the last, like, 20 years. They've been pumping out...
The Road to El Dorado. Still one of my favorite movies.
Oh, Shrek? They're coming out with new Shrek?
Yeah. The fifth one?
Yeah.
Did they have a timestamp on that? I
think it's like in a year or something.
That's just still a little while.
Yeah.
And as long as it's quality, I don't care. Take your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone will see that.
I'm not sure when it is, but I think so. DreamWorks is probably their biggest rival, and DreamWorks doesn't really deal in live action at all.
No, and they've done phenomenal.
Yeah. Without
doing so, I think that there are some stories that are best told in animation.
True. I agree. Well, it kind of fixes some of the limits you might have on budgeting and other things. Yeah, yeah. But the live action, like Disney's got a hold on it for right now, and eventually, my dad told me when I was young, every company fails. Sometimes it takes hundreds of years. Sometimes it takes time. Eventually, someone will do it better than you. You have to recognize that as a company when you start it.
The problem is right now they own so many assets. And it's so big that I don't know what it would take to bring it down or how long it would take to bring it down.
The process they're in right now is the start. What it would take would be a competitor who is really smart, who runs a good business, but also produces good movies.
Well, they got smaller ones that... I mean, Universal's big, right?
Yeah, but
they do
all those ones I feel like kind of got eaten by... I mean, Warner Brothers does a lot of things, but I feel like they all got kind of eaten by
Disney.
A lot of them are.
Some of them are, I know. Let's see. Let's look at Disney's assets. Would that show up in the list?
Let's look up... Here, let me look up... I'll look up, is Warner Brothers owned by Disney? I feel like Warner Brothers is one of the biggest.
let's see. Oh, what? So I just looked up a list of companies owned by Disney, and this is just 7. I imagine that there's more, but 21st Century Fox, Capital Cities / ABC, Pixar Animation Studios. I mean, there's not a surprise they've been doing a lot with Pixar. Lucasfilm, which they purchased, Marvel Entertainment, also, Fox Family Worldwide, and BAM Tech LLC. I don't know what other things they might, but I think they have the reason that they use Hulu right now or able to partner with them is because I think they should own a majority of the stocks. Maybe they bought it all out. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think it's going to take another company, either one that already exists or one that's forming, to make high quality content. Now the problem with that is the movie industry has what we call a high barrier of entry, meaning you can't just go make a movie and pay like $1,000, $2,000. Most movies budgets are in the millions or higher or billions.
Well, I think that there are some that show that you can, like the indie movies. Like wasn't it's just filmed in your hometown.
Oh, you're talking about Napoleon Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite.
There are a couple of those.
That was a low budget.
Very low budget, yes.
And huge hit. Everyone knows about Napoleon Dynamite. Right?
Yep.
I don't think the Minecraft movie costed. It may have cost a bit. I don't know.
I think the Minecraft movie was fairly expensive. I haven't seen it either, but I'm guessing where it's all animate, like it's all CGI.
Maybe.
I bet that was a fairly expensive movie to make. I could be wrong, but I think, and there are a couple movies that are like that. You do kind of limit yourself. So, and the best part is when you can have directors who can maintain quality while also avoiding things that are out of budget. For example, Saints and Soldiers, the first one. Really, really good movie. Budget was not that high. It was very low budget film. And they did a lot of creative things that made it work. For example, like for snow, they used potato peels, and different things like that.
And that kind of raids ingenuity in a fun way.
Exactly. So you need a company that can do that, but they need to be able to do that consistently on a few films, which is just a hard thing, and you never really know what people will like. So I think more than likely Disney will continue to be on top for a little while, but I think either they get smart or eventually they will run themselves out of the top dog position.
I'm not saying necessarily that I want them or anyone to fail, but I want there to be more good movies. Cause like you said,
too. I agree.
On occasion, I'd like to go to the theater and see something fun that I would enjoy.
Yeah.
But lately, there's not a lot I'm excited for. There's a couple movies on the horizon, but.
My wife loves Disneyland. And I went to Disneyland with her. It was very fun. I have no beef with that. But the movies lately have been garbage. And I need there to be more good ones.
Disney, if you're listening, help Starks out.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Help him and his wife have a good time at the theater.
Trying to treat my wife to a good time. Goodness gracious.
Show him a classy film.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Please.
Yeah. But honestly, though, even if Disney were to fail, they've had a very impressive legacy. Like they've revolutionized 100%. The movie industry. So
yeah,
I don't think they're anywhere close to failing right now. I think it's more like
they're
if they don't.
They're in a completely redeemable position.
Oh, easily. Well, because if you think about it, even if you come up with a small studio and they start making really good films, Disney has enough assets they could probably buy that studio. Yeah. Most cases, but. They need to, I think, make some adjustments. They kind of got out over their skis, but I think after they do that, we might start to see some quality films come from them again.
In Disney, we're willing to consult.
Yeah.
We're willing to come to the table.
That $500,000, that'll get you a week.
We're probably going to have to double, triple that amount, depending on how much you're wanting us to do.
Yeah.
To save your company.
Well, it's $500,000 for a week's worth of work. That includes travel, stay, all that stuff,
Yeah.
Our vacation.
Yes. We're expensive. We're not cheap.
Hey, we may be easy, but we're not cheap.
Exactly. That's a lot of what I wanted to cover, Starks.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you want to cover? We're about to have the hour mark.
That's about it. We pretty much covered everything. Yeah, we're happy to be back. We're excited. We are going to try to be back on the 2-week schedule, or the bi-weekly schedule. It has been kind of a unique time, I think, for both of us. So, hopefully, we will be able to provide that consistency for you guys. But if not, then
whether things ease up in our personal life or we just receive $500,000.
yeah, those are kind of the two options here. We will continue to make this podcast, so rest assured. If it takes a couple months or whatever, like it did this last time, we'll be back. It just takes time.
If it has to limp out, it'll limp out.
It's true. We're going to try and get it running. But we got to be able to run our personal lives first.
It'd be so much easier with an extra $500,000.
Each. I will settle for between us. We'll settle for $250,000 each, but if you want to send us $500,000, we would not turn it down.
Just a measly $500,000.
That's
Some
all.
of you have it.
Goodness gracious.
We've told many jokes on this podcast.
Yep. All right.
All right. Well, Starks, as it is our would you like? You go ahead and say the motto.
I'll sign us out. Sign us out. Listen if you want, or don't. We don't care.